Awesome.
All right, great. We are live, Alice. We are live. Thank you so much, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Talks at 3. This is a platform where women help to build one another on their journey of life. It is so great to be here. And we are on Facebook live streaming. I'm really hoping that you will be able to engage with us. I have my guest here today, Alice. Wave, 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 wave. And basically, I hope everybody can hear me clearly. We have the Facebook Live that is just running there. There's a chat there. Engage us. We're talking about menopause. We've had a great month in November. We'll be touching a bit on that. But enough of that for now. I jump ahead of myself. My name is Lucy Macridis, and I'm the founder of LMC Consultancy and an expert in helping women get unstuck and onto their true and their full potential through unlocking their limiting beliefs. I am a certified life coach, a mentor, and an online facilitator. I am so happy to be here and to be here yet again with another guest to be able to bring us some exciting insights on this topic that we've been running this month of November. So I'm just checking my Facebook Live to make sure that indeed we are live. And yes, I do see that we are live and just waiting for all of you to log in. I'll just get that together. Oh, fantastic. So as you come in, drop in your story about menopause. And don't tell me that menopause is not for you, that it only starts at 50 plus. We actually burst that myth in our last 3 sessions. Women have had the onset of menopause as early as 35 years of age. So already the discussions that we had around the season of menopause have shown us that all these things we have been told were assumptions. Very few of them can you come back and say there is fact. So I'm happy to be here. Let us just burst these myths and let us look at the positive sides of how we can transition in this time of our lives. So at LMC Consultancy, we've got 4 specific services, and that is group life coaching, one-on-one coaching. Now, one-on-one coaching is just helping you get unstuck and onto where you want to be. And I purposely work with women, and therefore I'm helping you as a fellow woman out there. Come on, just like our Facebook now, share, comment, and let's get back to you on what we can do for you. If one on one coaching perhaps is not for you, you don't want the limelight on you, group life coaching works. You come in and we are able to be your support, your accountability partner. We just pull from within you exactly what it is that is stopping you. Remember, I talked about limiting beliefs and unlocking these limiting beliefs. We unlock them for you. We work together. However, in group life coaching, we will be giving you the specific individual attention. The subject could be one, but hey, nowadays, the same thing, for instance, confidence that we're going to cover on later today, can come from any sphere of your life, whatever pie it is. Maybe you have low confidence when it comes to financial decisions, your spiritual health, your health decisions. What is it that you want to be building on and something is stopping you? So you could be a group of 5 women coming in to talk about confidence, and that is low confidence. But then you're in different stages of your life. So we zero into you and we make sure that you get all the attention that you need in a setting where there's a group where you feel supported. Online facilitation is actually just about training. Today, in this era of COVID 19, training has just moved online. Exciting things are happening here, guys. Exciting things. We've got a whole plethora of ways to keep your audience engaged. Again, like I say, like our page, drop us a message, comment, share, and we'll come back to you. Lady in waiting. I leave it as last. This is really dear to me. Lady in waiting, especially in this time right now in Kenya, is such a needed session for our young teenage girls and preteens. One of the things that we cover are core values, knowing yourself, self worth. Who are you? Your personal identity. You need to start when you're a preteen into a teenager. As a life coach, when I'm having my sessions, the things that come out are who am I? People are battling with identity crises. Yet, if we could just start with the preteens and the teenagers, this would be something easier for us to work on. In fact, we would be dealing with how do I transcend from one position to the other? I know that these are my strengths. So, not only do we take them through core values, we cover etiquette, etiquette from social to business to dining, and another one that is called social media etiquette. Yes, even you and I now. We are all on social media. The do's and the don'ts, and they go through a whole exercise and they hand in an assignment. It's exciting what these girls come back with. Personal grooming, just taking these girls through personal grooming and teaching them about the magic bag, the little bag that they need to have in their handbag and what goes into that little bag. Lady in Waiting is powerful. Our next cohort starts on the 5th of December. It is going to be a weekend cohort. We're going to be doing it every Saturday and Sunday for 3 weekends. Just check out our life coaching business that is right there on our Facebook, hashtag LMC consultancy, hashtag Tuesday Talks at 3, and you will find us. Right now, we've already posted the flyer. It has the details there with the cost. So, what makes me an expert, you may ask? Because I introduced myself that I am an expert in helping women get unstuck. Well, I have 30 years of hospitality underneath my belt. And during this time, I was helping to build women, oblivious that this was my purpose, ladies. I wasn't aware that it was until the onset of COVID 19. Now, when this happened, it brought chaos into my life. It just brought a lot of disruption for my journey, for my purpose, and my true potential. So I had to rethink my journey, just like so many people had to worldwide, rethinking your journey. But I was so grateful that actually my purpose remained intact to help build one another. That's why I'm here today. I am here today. And these are one of the things that I have endeavored to do to help build one another. If it means that it is us having a one on one in life coaching, if it means it is in training, if it means here on Tuesday Talks at 3, where we always have great discussions, feedback, an opportunity for you to share your story, then that's what it is. My purpose remained the same. So my journey just had to change. I had to reroute a few things because COVID stepped in. But I found opportunities. There's something so positive there. Again, it was a self talk that I gave myself. I needed to have this discussion with myself. What I found was that my potential was out there and still waiting to be claimed. So I created the Awakening Self program. Yes, you heard that right. Awakening Self program. It's an 8-part self journey to your true potential. And I will be so happy to share this with you. Next year, we are going to be running cohorts on this as we put everything together. So I found my voice. I am owning my voice here on this broadcast. And I have purpose now to embrace my voice, to become that person. So I invite you to be part of this. I really do. So once you have liked our page, we give you the opportunity to be part of our community. We call it We Are Connected because we really are. That sphere of life or that wheel of life, it has its pies. So today you are in this situation in your career. Maybe that's where I was last year, or that's where I will be next year. We can lean on each other. Maybe it is health issues. Let us talk about mental health issues. Maybe today I am where you were last year and you can help me. So in that sphere of life or that wheel of life, that is what we work on basis of our life coaching. In our community, we share information. We're able to help each other. And where we get stuck, we help each other to pull out of it and give us things that can help us. So please share your story with us. Don't keep it to yourself. Somebody somewhere is just
Mm.
waiting to hear your story. So, enough of that, and on to what we are here for. This hour, we're going to be talking about well being. And it's interesting that this month we chose a season of menopause, and yet the birthstone is topaz. And it is said that topaz assists in reducing mood swings and worries. These are the symptoms of menopause. So it was really apt, to so appropriate to have this as the month of the season of menopause. Now, menopause is natural. It is like the emerging of a butterfly. I cannot say this enough
Mm.
times. Just coming out of that cocoon and this beautiful being that flies out. And this is how we see menopause, a beautiful transition. However, some beliefs towards menopause drive us to see it as something to be ashamed of. I call these limiting beliefs. You hear it again, limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs can stop you from doing so much in your life. You just need to turn around and use them as an opportunity, as a stepping stone to transcend. But first, you've got to know what is stopping you before you can turn it right on its head and use it for your strength. So these are just assumptions that have been made about menopause. Well, with me today to take us through well-being, wellness is Alice Jambi. She's a fellow life coach. She's a strategic life coach. She's the lead coach, I beg your pardon. She's the lead coach at Conscious Creators Academy. She lives in Nairobi and she'll be sharing her contacts with us on the chat. Welcome, Alice. And thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much, Alice, for accepting my invitation to Tuesday Talks at 3. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling very excited to be here. Thank you so much for the invite.
You're so welcome. You see, in the last 3 weeks, we've been talking about menopause, and we defined menopause to include one of these things. And one of them is the drop of estrogen production in our bodies, just that drop. And then things begin to happen in our bodies. So we split it into three areas: there's the perimenopause, the menopause, and the postmenopause. And what do you think about the subject of menopause, Alice?
I think it's quite an interesting subject, a subject that is how do I put it? It's as a woman, it doesn't matter what age what age you are. It's a subject that we need to speak about way more often that we do speak about. It's a subject that we need to be open about. It's a subject that the older ladies need to share their experiences with,
I'm
with the
taking,
younger ones.
I'm just taking notes right here. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that and it's even said, the older women will teach the younger women, so that by the time, like you said, menopause, we think that it starts when a lady is a 50, 60, 50 and above. But
Yes,
like you mentioned earlier when we were starting this conversation, it's
yes,
now happening to ladies as young as 35 years. So I love that you have been having these talks for
yeah,
this month of November, because I totally agree with you. It's a subject that we really need to talk about
yes.
more than we currently are doing. And yeah, thank you so much for this forum.
Yes, I'm just
Mm.
trying to see what there is here on the Facebook. But then I do understand what you're saying. We need to talk about it. And we're not talking
Mm.
about it enough time.
Exactly. Mm.
For instance, now, in what you do in your life coaching, does it come up?
It's yes, it comes up, but it doesn't come up as menopause exactly, because for most of the ladies it is fear of, when I get to this age, this is what I'm fearing will happen or won't happen to me,
Yeah,
which is exactly what we are talking about. It's the fact that we don't have as much information that
yeah,
we need, that will equip us to go through this phase of life that is, like you said, so natural, and it's a part of the journey of life. It's not something that we will skip. You won't wake up and one day say you've you've skipped the process. But the thing is, we are not equipped with this information, so we don't know how to handle it. And
So
thank you so
true.
much for this forum. Yeah, we really need
Oh,
more of this.
you're so welcome. You know, like we're saying, the idea is to help build one another.
Mm.
And you are not alone when you are in that fear. So many women are so fearful of this stage in life because, like I said in the beginning, the the assumptions that have been made over time. And these assumptions are that you're no longer beautiful, you're no longer
Yeah.
supple. I mean, the different things that we identified that happened during menopause, we identified and listed them. It was hot flushes, there was breast tenderness, there was irregular periods, especially if you're in perimenopause, menopausal. There's lower sex drive. There was vaginal dryness. There's fatigue. There's even urine leakage when coughing or sneezing. And these are the things that come out as negative. And then we're looking at our mood swings and panic disorder and joint pain and digestive problems and anxiety, dizzy spells, vertigo. Oh, elevated heartbeat. And the list was just endless, Alice. So you can
Mm.
understand why women need the services of a life coach because the fear is there. And
Yeah.
these are beliefs that kind of paralyze us. They paralyze us. Our body image begins to take on a change. We start to feel different. I mean, I'm just going to share something that's here on the Facebook Live. And we've got quite a few people watching. Thank you and welcome. So we've got Joan who says it's a subject that we never want to talk about. Doesn't that tell you
Yeah.
something? A
Yeah.
subject we don't want to talk about. So this particular series is coming in to educate women and empower them to be able to embrace the season of menopause as a lifestyle, a newfound freedom where we have fitness, wisdom, and time. We have time on our hands. Yeah? We have to accept,
Mm.
embrace, and make the most of it and enjoy a dynamic menopause. But then, how do we do this? So, thank you so much for sharing that with me, Alice. Because in the last few weeks, the first week, we looked at nutrition. And in nutrition, we went ahead to identify the foods and supplements that we need during this beautiful transition of our lives. What kind of foods or supplements do we need? And it doesn't start when you become menopausal, it's a lifestyle.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
Alice, this is what we did. We identified with a nutritionist what it is we needed to do and how we need also to educate the young girls coming up after us about nutrition. And I loved two things that Dr. Anne Boru Divart shared with us. She said, eat the rainbow. That means your plate needs to be colorful, not the bland colors, because in color is where the richness is.
Mhm.
She then talked about quality over quantity. So quality, and she showed us the different portions that using her palms and the size of a plate, what we should be having. And she shared with us the challenges that we have in our culture as Africans. I come to your house, Alice, and you offer me food, and that plate is just brimming because culture dictates that you need
Yeah.
to feed me well. And
Mm.
on my part, I need to eat because culture dictates that. If I do not
Mm.
eat, those are bad manners. That means
Mhm.
your food was not good. That means I'm not
Mm.
honoring you as a hostess. Do you remember those kind of things that have come across us and our tables, Alice?
Yes, I remember that pretty
Yeah.
well. Yeah, you cannot go to someone's house and they offer you food and you say no. It was taken to be a sign of rudeness. You
Yes.
can't say no. Mm.
Yeah, you're being impolite. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Anne Borudivat walked us through that, and I loved that. Then we had mental health, and there's no good health without good mental health. And here we had our clinical psychologist, Victoria. She helped us to understand where the woman is. You see, the woman is already, by the time menopause is catching up, she's coming with a lot of baggage. So, at what stage is she, the where's, the hows, the what's of these stages? And she really took us through that. And we came to realize some very fundamental things that this woman may have a teenage girl in her house who's walking into puberty. And here is Madame Menopause now walking into menopause. Those are things of two different poles. There's one where her estrogen levels are really on the rise, and the other one where they're on the decrease. And these are two people you're bringing together in a room. So it's just about understanding where you're at and how you can manage that season. And then we looked at fitness. Now, fitness got me so excited because I thought I was doing so well, Alice, on my half an hour to 1 hour walk. And Winnie, who is the fitness expert, she's an athlete and a coach, she sought to share with us the understanding of how fitness contributes to physical and mental health. So, actually, I have a date with Winnie to go into her gym and see how
Wow.
things are done. You see, I am still standing or sitting on the fence.
Very nice.
At least I said I'm still standing or sitting on the fence. Those again are limiting beliefs. That is what is blocking me. And as long as you're aware of what is blocking you, that's already your first step to
Yeah.
overcome. Yes. So today we are on well-being and we're on wellness. And I'm just looking at what we have here on the Facebook feed. Aha, Patty Mategi has tuned in. Thank you so much. Joan Bessia is looking forward. Thank you. Nancy says, ladies in waiting, needed today than never before. Keep that
Yeah.
candle burning for our young ladies. Thank you so much. Patty says, I love the word to embrace and enjoy. Exactly. In menopause, we need to embrace and enjoy. Hello, Ruth. Good to see you there. Great conversation. She's glad to be part of it. So we've looked at those three areas, and now we're going to go into well-being, into wellness. And Alice, in a previous conversation or session with a different speaker, we discussed self-awareness that informs self-worth. That is how we went about it. So things like what I know about myself, how I relate to myself and my surroundings. Basically,
Yeah.
self-discovery, so to speak. And we really unpacked that. However, that was in general. Here, we are putting it in the context of menopause. So, in your opinion, Alice, how best can I apply this effectively, self awareness? How best can I apply self awareness effectively in my season of menopause?
That's a good question. And I like what one of your guests, I can't remember, I can't recall which one, but there's one of your guests who mentioned that, menopause is like reverse puberty. You remember something like that?
Yes,
And
yes. That's
for
puberty.
me, that really made so much sense. And as I think about it, when we were getting into that stage, the puberty stage,
Yes,
there were people working with us. We were made to understand, you're going to go through these changes, physical changes, hormonal changes. I mean, we even had it as a subject in school, right?
yes, we did. You're
Yeah.
right.
I remember I used to have it as a subject in school and in class six. I think it was home science or something back in my days. And the teachers would ask, what are the first signs of puberty in girls? And all the boys would put their hands up and they would say breast appear, and all the girls would be so shy and they'll be hiding.
Yes,
It
I
is so
remember that.
funny. It is so
Yes,
funny that we were able to get help then to
yeah,
to just understand the changes that we're going through. But when it comes to menopause, there is no one to help us go through those changes. There is no one who's telling us, what, um ladies, having hot flashes is completely natural. And here's the thing, you won't even know what time you will have them. So what can you do? The best thing you can do is maybe prepare yourself
yes,
accordingly and just understand what is going on with yourself. And this is a very huge part of self-awareness. I think at this stage we need self-awareness, more than any other point, because right now, during this particular time, we need to understand ourselves way more. And unlike when we were 14 or 13, or okay, let's say 9 years, we had someone taking us through these stages. Now
Mm.
it is up to us to be our own driver, so to speak.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
like you mentioned, I love that you had had this conversation before. So it would be more of a recap and just just connecting it with this season of menopause.
Yeah,
And self-awareness, to just a summary of what self-awareness is.
yeah.
And it's exactly that: awareness of self, meaning having a clear understanding of who you are. And here's the thing: a lot of us think we are self-aware. Like,
Mm.
if you'd have asked me 4 years ago that if I knew myself or not, of course I'd have thought that's a very ridiculous question. I'd have told you, yeah, I know myself. In
Mm.
fact, statistics have it that 9 out of 10 people think they're self-aware, but in reality only one person is.
Mm.
So the rest of us, we are self-deluded. We think we know ourselves, but we really don't know ourselves. And
Wow.
self-awareness,
Very
yeah,
scary, Alice. That's quite
yeah,
scary. Just think of those numbers. 9 out of 10
yeah,
people are deluded, and only 1 out of 10 actually know themselves and have that self-awareness.
yeah,
Oh, that is scary. I mean, I'm just reading here what Roseanne is saying. I was made to believe that when I got to 50 years, my life would be over, that menopause would set in, and it was made to look like a life sentence. Well, look at that. Look
yeah,
at that. Now
yeah,
look at
yeah,
self-awareness. I mean, if we had a better understanding of self-awareness, we would know the journey that we have begun to travel, that from the first onset of getting your menses,
mhm,
already we are beginning to move towards the transition of our
yeah,
life. Wow,
mhm.
okay. Very scary statistics there that you're sharing. Yeah, so tell us about self-awareness.
So the good part is self-awareness is something that can be cultivated, and you have to do that with an open mind and a willing heart, and be willing to receive feedback, and be willing to accept yourself as you are. And
Mm,
self-awareness here has got to do with having a clear understanding of how you think,
yeah.
what you feel, how you act, and how you communicate this. We all think, yeah? And we all know that we think, but we rarely think about why we think about the things that we think about. When it comes to emotions, that's a whole
Oh, you
different
lost me
story.
there. How we think about what we think about how we. Can you say that again? That that
Uh,
that threw me there.
I was saying we do think, yes, that's for sure, and no one can refute that. Huh? But we rarely think about how we think about what we think. You get?
Mm,
We rarely think, why am I thinking this? What is the story behind this?
I got you. I've got you
Yeah.
now. Okay. All right.
We
Uh-huh.
rarely think about the perceptions that we have in our minds, that shape how we see ourselves, that shape how we see other people, that shape our whole worldview. We rarely think about that. And I'm sure as a coach, you can relate to this very well. And what we think is self-awareness has got, for most of us, has got a lot to do with the influences of other people and perceptions of others that have shaped our lives. We got an understanding of ourselves based on what people around us, especially when we were kids growing up,
Yes.
we got this sense of self, depending or based on what people around us thought, or based on how they felt. So for example, if you grew up in an environment where maybe the adults, your parents, caregivers, or people around you were angry, they were frightened, they were scared, they were going through their own maybe emotional drama, and you are not equipped with the right emotional tools to process all this, then you probably grew up with this sense of, the world is this big scary place. And if you had a different kind of setting, say for example, you grew up in an environment where you had, you had either parents or caregivers who had a very healthy view of themselves, then most likely you have a very healthy view of yourself. And in fact, when it comes to ladies, how we take ourselves in terms of our body image, without even consciously knowing that, we actually took on what our parents thought about when they were growing up. So if you had a parent who was not confident about themselves or their body image, you most likely grew up with issues around the same. And here's the thing, even as parents, we do not know that we are consciously doing this to our children. Like let's say, for example, I go to the mirror and I go like, oh my God, I look fat. I don't look nice. I don't like how, I don't like how I look. And my child is looking at me without even knowing. I'm communicating the same to the child. If anything, they're my child, right? So if mom doesn't look okay, if mom doesn't like how she looks, and I'm supposed to be how do I don't want to say a typical image, but people tell me I look like her, right? No, unafanana na mama yako, and yet mom is not even sure of, she doesn't look nice, she doesn't. So unconsciously we take on that perspective. And woe unto you if maybe you put on clothes and then your mom tells you, hey, okay, poa in that dress, we take
Or
on that.
next
And
day it comes back and it gets affirmed. You know,
exactly,
if
exactly.
mom is saying this, then this is happening to me and she's correcting me, then it is true of me. And by the time I'm an adult, I'm carrying this baggage. And now I'm walking into menopause. And just like what Roseanne is saying here about it being a life sentence, already it has a negative connotation in my
Yeah.
mind, and I begin to live it. Patty says, true, a lot of people get us scared of menopause and its consequences. So
Yeah.
I'm already walking into menopause, not confident about who I am, not knowing who I am, my self awareness. I'm not clear, like the clarity that you talk about. Let's just sample. Nduku here says, one always thinks that they have a working knowledge of their self. So
Yeah.
self-deludedness can be overcome without trauma. Ain't that great? Thank you for pointing the way. So true. You just need to be aware of who you are. And for me, self-awareness comes starting from my internal knowledge. And I come from a corporate background, so I like to use the SWOT analyses and look at myself. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? These are things that I talk to myself to
Yeah.
myself about all the time. And what can I use? When do I know to step forward? When do I know to step back and learn? And those are internal. And then there's external, which is now the opportunities and the threats. And these things come to me when it comes to self-awareness. But today also, Alice has made me aware of the fundamental reasons that I do what I do. I mean, I got it so clearly when she explained it the second time around. And these are influences or conditions formed from when I am a child. So things that I have to be aware of. So, Alice, I'm walking into menopause. I've got all this baggage that I am carrying. I am hearing from you that I need to understand who I am. I need to know myself.
Yes.
I need to grow that self. I need to understand and give myself clarity, and it does not start with menopause. It's something
Exactly.
that should have started before.
Mhm.
So, as I am transitioning into this season, I find myself coming from a point of strength. What would you like to add to that?
You've put it very well, because the thing is, by the time you're getting to this season of menopause, you're most likely undergoing what you call an identity crisis. It is
Yes,
this new phase, and like Roseanne mentioned, it feels like it's a life sentence,
yes,
because that is what we were conditioned to know about what menopause is. That is what we have seen from other ladies. That is what we have seen. That is what we know. Yet, with self-awareness, you can actually be able to change this whole perspective, just with this clear sense of identity, and having a growth mindset where you're telling yourself, you know what, it's not the end of my life. Guess what? It's the beginning of a new phase.
There you
You
go.
know,
A beginning of a new phase. Exactly.
I,
Exactly.
I
Wow.
like what a friend mentioned, and we were having a conversation, and this had nothing to do with menopause, but I think it would still gel very well. And she was talking about uh, guys getting into retirement and feeling like same thing. This is the end of the life. No, you're supposed to retire and just wende mashambani and your life is over. But that's not true. And she was sharing with me that every time that she's talking um, to these guys, the first thing that they have to go through is a change of mindset, where you're saying, this is not the end of life, this is a new chapter, you know? And now, when it comes to this season of menopause, if we can have that clear understanding, life is not ending. This this is a new chapter. And I like saying we have lived different lives. And living different lives here does not mean past lives. Like we have lived different lives in terms of puberty, that stage of between probably 18 and 25, that stage of between 25 and 35, and each stage of those lives that we lived required a completely different version of us. So we are here. What version of myself, who must I become? What is it that I have, that what passions do I have that I can actually focus on now? So
Mm.
this new version. How do I become the best version of myself in this season? So
I
it's
love
all
that.
about
How do I become the best version of myself in this season? That's amazing. I mean, Kavi here says, take one day at a time with kind acceptance. So it's about the
I love that.
embracing and the accepting. That's a beautiful way to put it. Well, just moving on, Alice, as we're talking about self-awareness, I can hear the self-confidence coming in there. And it's about me building up the confidence of the season that I'm in, the life that I'm in. So, Alice, I said this before on air, and I got a few people who know me personally coming back and saying, yeah, right. I said that I'm an introvert, and many people do not believe this. So, Alice, I am an introvert, despite what people think. So, as an introvert, when I see a person exuding passion, enthusiasm, energy, is being the life of a party, I define them as a person of high levels of confidence. This is what I do. I look at them and I smile to myself and I think, excuse me, wow, you have a lot of confidence, you have a lot of energy. And I look, and being an introvert, we like to enjoy things from a distance. Unless then we are asked to come up and do something, then I tell you it's a lot of work. We dot I's, we cross T's, we do what, but we get it done. But the natural state is that you want to sit in a corner and just enjoy what other people are doing. So when I'm watching another individual, I will define them as a person of high confidence. Now, bringing this into the context of menopause, how can I emulate that kind of confidence, or maybe even a lower notch, and if I dare say a higher notch, despite what I'm going through? How can I
Uh,
emulate that kind of confidence when I need it the most? But what I'm going through, you know, yeah, is questionable. How can I do that?
before I get into that, I just want to mention, me and you were in the same WhatsApp group, because I tell people I am an introvert, and they go like, "Yeah, right. You're the noisiest person I know." And self-confidence here is not about, being the noisiest in the room, or being the loudest, or being the one who talks the most in meetings. Is
Yes.
just pretty much, how confident are you of your own abilities, of your own power, of yourself? How confident are you?
I like that.
And
Confident am I?
exactly, and this ties back to self-awareness. You
Hmm.
When you're confident, when you know what your strengths are, then you're more likely to be confident. When you know what your weaknesses are, then you can learn how to either work around them, or work on minimizing them. It
Yes.
goes back to understanding yourself,
Mm.
understanding, you know what, um I like being the person who talks the least in the room, and there's nothing wrong with me. So
Mm.
how can I be the best? It goes back to the same thing. How can I be the best version of myself? When I understand who I am, when I understand what I'm about, when I understand what my strengths are, when I understand what my weaknesses are, then it helps me become the master of my own life, so to speak. It helps boost my confidence. You can clearly tell, okay, today, when you understand yourself, can clearly tell, today I am not feeling as good as I normally feel, and I have this big gig, and probably when I feel like this, for me, I take 20 minutes to take a nap. For me, I talk to a friend to encourage me. When you understand, when I'm feeling like this, when I'm in a rut, how can I get myself out of it?
Mhm.
It goes back to self-awareness. Understand yourself. And here's the thing: you don't have to be what in high moods 100% of the time. And it's okay when you're having those low moods. What are those low moods telling you? And self-confidence here is very well, it's closely related to what related, hey.
Welcome, you Kenyan. Uh-huh. Closely related to.
To what you're talking about earlier, limiting beliefs. What is it that you are thinking about yourself
Mm.
that is limiting you? And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, things
Mm.
that we picked up about ourselves, and
Mm.
most of the time are not really true. And
Yes.
it's most of the time, and especially as ladies, we happen to be very self-conscious, and we happen to be very to rate our capabilities very very poorly.
Yes.
And it all goes back to this self judgment. It all goes back to limiting beliefs. There's a fear of rejection. There's
Yes.
a fear of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough. And then imagine you have all those fears, and then you're going through this phase
Yeah.
which you are not well prepared for. And it's if you don't understand yourself, if you don't have a clear sense of self, you're more likely to affirm, oh my God, those that negative self-talk that we often have at the back of our minds. I'm not good enough, I'm not deserving. Then my goodness, you are there having a presentation and you're sweating, and people are looking at you and they're thinking, I what's wrong with that one? And you're embarrassed, instead of just sharing, or just being able to laugh at yourself, because it's a process that is happening that you can't put a stop to.
So,
So
so true. Yeah,
yeah,
being comfortable in your own skin.
exactly.
These are the symptoms of menopause, and one way is by making yourself a priority, telling people about it even before it starts, excusing it away because that is your way of life, your lifestyle. At that point, there's really nothing you can do when a hot flush descends and it
Yeah.
decides this is the time when I need to present myself. No matter what you do, that hot flush is coming through. So you need to know yourself. And I
Yeah.
am giving this example because I have walked this path severally. And the worst times are when I am perhaps the center of attention. And remember, I'm an introvert. So when I'm the center of attention, by the time I'm stepping out to present myself, there's so much work for me to get to that position. And then I get to that position, and then my body gives up on me by having a hot flush. So, what I've done nowadays is I've also prepared for that eventuality. And when I start feeling it coming on, maybe I loosen my scarf, maybe I open a window, or I take off my jacket, or I whip out my fan from my handbag and I begin to fan myself. And I say to guys, it's my personal summer. And just that light moment
Yeah.
makes people move from that point and concentrate on what it is I am saying. So whether I'm
Yeah.
patting down my face, You know, whether I am just saying, can the AC be cranked up a little
Mm-hmm.
bit?
Mm.
People now are with me, but I have made myself a priority and I'm managing the situation. There's another thing that I have done, Alice, and I have listed down things where I know I am effective. Or how can I say, how effective do I believe I am in certain things? You know, that self efficacy for
Mm-hmm.
me is very important. There are certain things that I
Yeah.
know, I know. So if I am sitting in a group where there are life coaches, there are certain things I know.
Yeah.
However, if I'm sitting in a group of somebody in a science symposium, I don't know. In fact, unless you
Mm.
break it down to me like a 6 year old, I don't know. But I
Yeah.
know that there are areas where I have
Mm.
measured my self efficacy, and that helps me in my self confidence. I
Yeah.
then practice my self confidence because I visualize who I want to be. I affirm me, Lucy, and I go a step further and I help someone. And I have found that during this season of menopause, making myself a priority, realizing where my self efficacies lie, and practicing my confidence takes me away from anything that is negative. In fact, I feel so fulfilled. So fulfilled. Let's just sample what Nduku is saying. Menopause came up on my blind side and is totally throwing off my stride. I have recently decided to just accept that it is an unknown factor. This is how I'm rebuilding my confidence. Nature will happen, and I can only affect myself. So true. Where we're taking one day at a time, like what Kavi says, with kind acceptance, and where we are embracing ourselves. So that is self confidence. You did talk about self talk. And I would like us to unpack some self talk as we talk about self esteem. Now, low self esteem is one of the symptoms of menopause, just as we're talking about low self confidence. That low self esteem, it is a symptom of menopause. Yeah. Now, when we had our guest on fitness, she advised that she was able to battle low self esteem and boost it through exercise. So she advocated for exercise. She said to us, identify the ones that you love and get to it. You know, just do it with consistency and keep on at it. But in your opinion, Alice, apart from the body image that we are alluding to, where else can we suffer low self esteem? And how would you recommend us coming back from that? How do we come back from that low self esteem?
That's a good question. And from my own experience and observations around me, uh, I think low self esteem is something that we grapple with, all our lives. At this stage, probably you're thinking, I'm not good enough when it comes to this. Then you're always thinking, you know what, maybe when I hit this much as an income bracket, then I'll be good enough. Maybe when I get married, then I'll be worthy. Maybe when I get kids, then I'll be good enough. And it all goes back to what you were talking about earlier, the self talk that we have.
Mm.
And especially for us ladies, I think we are our own worst critics.
Yes.
There's this inner critic, uh, having a conversation with ourselves all the time. And what we do is we self sabotage ourselves, thinking
Mm.
we are protecting ourselves. So you have that meeting, you're afraid that you're going to get a hot flash. So what do? You call and say, hey, I won't make it for the meeting. Someone else goes. That is a form of
Sadly,
self sabotage.
yes. Sadly so. Yes.
Yeah. And that self sabotage all goes back to low self esteem. And self esteem and self awareness go hand in hand. Once you
Mm.
understand yourself, once, like Nduko mentioned, once you accept yourself as you are, accept yourself for who you are. I think
Yeah.
for me, the one of the hardest parts of this self awareness journey was self acceptance. Accept yourself even with the mistakes that you have made. Accept that this is who I am, this is what I am good at. accept that you won't be everybody's cup of tea, and that is okay. Not everyone will like you,
Mm.
and that's cool too. So you accept that, you know what, the people who will like me are my tribe. The people who will not like me, it's okay, they don't have to. And that raises your self-esteem, because self-esteem, the self-acceptance, once you accept yourself, then what happens is you change the self-talk that is going on in your head.
Yeah.
You start to understand, why am I having this, who am I, how do I view myself? And
Mm.
I view myself, I look at myself a as a lady who is, probably, what would I say, like, maybe I'm not good enough, and so unconsciously I'm always active looking for an affirmation. Yet no one can affirm me, no one can validate me. I look for it in my spouse, I look for it in my boss, I look for it in my kids. But until I affirm myself, until I validate myself, until I accept all parts of me as they are, for what I am, for who I am, for
Mm.
what I'm about, until I accept, you know what, this I can be able to do. Like you said, there are things that I know, and there are things that I know I don't know.
Yes.
So with what I know, what can I do best with with what I know? What can I There's something that I know I can do best, that the world can do it the way I can do it. So instead of trying to, I don't know, copy this person, instead of trying to be like so and so because they are very good at it. What am I good at? What are my passions? What is my signature? And then I think we have this thing as human beings too. We love authenticity and we like connecting with people who are authentic. But here's the thing, for one to be authentic, you have to accept yourself. You have to,
Very true. Yes. Very true.
and authenticity and self-esteem, go hand in hand. Because by the time you're saying, you know what, I am like this, like this, like this, and it is okay, I accept myself as I am, then your self-esteem, it goes up,
I
and
like
you're
what
able.
you said. I
Mhm,
like what you said about self-acceptance, even with your mistakes. I mean, it goes back to what I was talking about, the SWOT, my strengths and my weaknesses. If that makes me, that is all from internal. And I like your introduction of the self-talk. There's one thing that I like to work with, and that is the attitude of gratitude, because whenever you give thanks for what you have. There's a post that I made the other day on LinkedIn, and this particular post was about preparing for 2021. And one of the things that I'm encouraging my readers to take on is an attitude of gratitude. So in 2020, what were you grateful for? Because the thought process was that there's so many things that happened this year, but if anything, it has shown us what we are grateful for. So when you have an attitude of gratitude as your own self-talk, it builds towards self-esteem. I like also to think about, listen to what you are saying. Make a purpose. You know how we say, be the fly on the wall onto your own conversation?
mhm,
Listen to what you're saying. When you catch yourself giving those negative statements, like the ones that you have said, I'm not good enough. Maybe when I get a child, I'll be good enough. Or when I get married, I'll be good enough, and you're waiting for that validation from somebody else. Listen to yourself and then challenge those things that you're saying to yourself. Where's the evidence? Who said you're not good enough? Who's measuring your goodness? It's about you and what you think from within you. It's your self worth, your awareness. It's you knowing who you are. And then flip it. If you had a girlfriend in the room or on the phone and you were advising her, what words would you use? Therefore, you're challenging your self talk. And
mhm,
when you challenge yourself that way, you find that you're not going to, because you are an individual who is sharing advice with somebody, you're going to give them advice to build them,
yeah,
not to break them down. So talk to yourself, challenge yourself. Can I change the situation? It's a yes or no. Move
Mhm.
on. It's never that
Exactly.
serious. Never that serious. And this is when now you can change and have positive things, a growth mindset. You talked about growth mindset, and I loved it. I'm just going to read here. Patty says, great conversation. Thank you so much, Patty. We'd love to hear you interacting with us more on matters self confidence, self esteem, self awareness. We've got Mary saying, wonderfully and fearfully made, believing God and accepting we're the best help negates our negatives. So true, so true. We need to command our thoughts to gain most out of it. That is the self
Yeah.
talk that we
Mm.
are talking about. So
Mhm.
tell me about this self talk because now I'm just loving the way we are going. Because the question was, where else can we suffer low esteem, low self esteem? And you talked about in the knowledge of knowing who we are because we had already covered the body image in the fitness session. So, in knowing who we are and how we can be able to leverage this so that we can come back. One of them is self-talk. Is there anything else that you can give us that would help us with low self-esteem so that we can just transcend to the next level?
Just to add just a little bit on the self-talk, most of
Mhm.
the time we have perfected this self-talk, and most of the time it's negative. We put it in our sentences. We don't even notice. It's very unconscious. Like for example, you'll say something and go like, "My God, I'm so stupid," and we
Mm,
don't even notice. We don't
yes.
even notice. I'll say something like, "I'm so stupid," or I'm so dumb. And for me, I have gotten to a point, like you're saying, observe.
Yeah.
Be that person, be that flare on the wall. Observe your conversation. And
Mhm.
I once you start observing, you start picking on those things.
Yes.
And for me, I started like a joke. I'd be like, "I'm so stupid." Then I catch it. Then I'm like, "Wait a minute. I am not stupid. I might have made a stupid action. My action was stupid, but I am not stupid. So if my action was stupid, what can I do? What could I have done better? Or what can I do next time?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that. I love, thank you for adding that onto self-talk. And I'm sure the ladies, as they are listening, are just taking home a lot of nuggets. I see here that Nancy says, advise yourself as if you were advising a girlfriend to build. There you go, to build, not to bring down.
Yeah.
Because as women, at times, we tend to be negative. And therefore, without knowing, because we are so negative with already our affirmations, like what Alice is saying, our output then is negative. If you just fill yourself with negative thoughts, I'm not good, I'm not educated enough, I am not beautiful, I can't do that, not today, another day. There are people who are good at that, not me. I am, all those negative thoughts that you're filling this cup with, all that you can pour out of your cup is negativity. But then when you're advising your girlfriend, you're advising her to build. And that's a very important thing. Well, we are coming to the close of the hour, and how an hour flies by. Alice, three takeaways. Just give us three takeaways that we can go away with and just know how we can manage during this season of menopause our own self esteem, our confidence, and our awareness.
Okay. Before we get to that, can I just add something very small to do with
Yes,
self-esteem? And
yes,
for me, part of the thing about self-esteem is we show up in the world wearing these social masks. We look like we are okay, we are confident, we have, self-esteem, but self-awareness asks us to be very raw and honest with ourselves. And
mm,
a part of that is just, for me, what helped was something that is called the mirror experiment. Just taking the mirror and looking at it, you look at your eyes and, just say things that you would want someone to say to you. Like if you want to be validated, I am beautiful. And for me, I remember the first time I could not actually look at myself and say I am beautiful. Why? Because of all these conversation, to be honest, I really didn't think I was. I am
yeah.
smart. Really, am I? But I've made so many
Mm.
mistakes. Yes, I've made so many mistakes, but I am smart.
Yes,
It
Yes.
Let me tell you, it was such a struggle initially.
Yes.
Just looking at the mirror and just affirming, yes, I am smart. I am generous. I am kind. I am intelligent. I am worth it.
Yes.
It is
Yes.
so hard, especially if you're struggling with, esteem issues and your self-worth and all that. But it
Yes.
takes practice. It takes
Mirror
practice.
experiment. You called it mirror experiment.
Yes, yes,
Mirror experiment where you affirm yourself. So we list down a few things about self and we
yes.
tell ourselves these things in the mirror. I love it, Alice. I love it. Sheila says, exactly. So let's all keep reminding ourselves that we are wonderfully and perfectly made. We are blessed. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, indeed, we are blessed. Okay, so some takeaways. If we could have three takeaways, because we can be here forever, Alice. This does not stop. We've got women on the platform. We've got the two of us. We are women. We are talking about things that are affecting us. We can be here for a long time. Give us
Yeah.
some three takeaways that we can actually just apply even as we are leaving.
Okay. The first one, I would encourage a lot of journaling, just
Mhm.
writing down your thoughts, writing down your feelings for the day. And here's the difference. There's a difference between writing a diary and journaling. Writing a diary, we're just writing. We're writing, yes, this is my day, this is how it was, this is what went on. But for journaling, you're actually doing this with a purpose. And the purpose is evaluation and for purposes of evolution. You want to grow, you want to mark your progress. So with journaling, what you do is say you can decide for yourself. I will be going through my journal maybe every Sunday evening, once a month, once in 2 weeks, whatever works for you. And just, you can be able to tell on this day, this is what was happening. This is how I was able to handle it. Maybe a month later, you're handling the same thing better. So with journaling, you're able to see your steps of growth and progress, and so you encourage yourself, and it's a very good way of just even dealing with the emotions that you have during this changing season. And
Mm.
then the next one I'd encourage is to write down a list of accomplishments, because during this season there's a lot of identity crisis. You're struggling, with this identity. You think you're no longer who you are, so you're not feeling good enough, you're not feeling like you're capable, like you're mentioning you're going for this meeting, and probably you become sweaty and you're thinking, my God, I can't do it. Just sit down and write a list of all your accomplishments.
Yes.
Write a
Yes.
list of all the things that you have been able to, all the challenges you've been able to overcome, because it uplifts us. It gives us a sense of, what, I have gone through this and I came out strong.
Mm.
So I am capable. I have been able to accomplish one, two, three. So why am I doubting my self-worth? So it just helps to build our sense of self-worth and raise our self-esteem when we are feeling a bit off, when we are feeling I don't know how to navigate this. You've navigated other challenges, you've navigated other phases, you've
So true.
navigated other seasons in your life.
So
So
true.
why would this one be different?
Yes. Okay. And the third takeaway.
The third takeaway is what we were talking about. Let's observe our self talk and change it from negative to positive self talk. Because
Very.
at the end of the day, I think we are the ones who spend the most time with ourselves. We talk to ourselves the most. So let's change that talk. Let's be our own best friends.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Patty here says this is very powerful for me in terms of self-confidence and disability. Well done, Patty. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, ladies. There you have it. There you have it. Thank you so much for joining us, Alice. With menopause comes low self-esteem issues, which directly affects our well-being and our wellness. What are you going to do? The three takeaways that Alice has shared with us are so powerful and things that you can actually do, very easy to do. Journaling, just journal, listing your accomplishments, positive self talk, You can start that right away. So these takeaways, they give us practical things that we can do to manage this season. This season is here with us. It is coming. If you're not yet there, how are you preparing yourself for that season so that you can have a dynamic menopause? A dynamic menopause is just a matter of choice. There are women out there that you look at and you think she can't be going through menopause. She most probably is. She's just managed to have the tools to be able to use these tools effectively so that she comes across as that beautiful, dynamic woman in the season. So next week marks the start of a new month. What topics would you love to hear, ladies? What would you love us to bring to you in the same way that we have brought you this month of menopause? Just drop us a few direct messages or write in the chat. Tell us what you'd love to hear in this Advent season. We've got again another 4 Tuesdays coming up. Or maybe you just have something that you want to share as your story that we can bring in and build up on. So we say thank you so much, Alice, for joining us. We really appreciate you. And we would love for you to drop your contacts into the chat. Maybe not even now, maybe afterwards, go in and just acknowledge the comments that have been made. We appreciate you. It is the top of the hour, and our Tuesday talks have come to an end. Remember, ladies, remember to like our page so that you can receive a lot of our updates and that you can be part of our scheduled talks. So please, this is all about helping to build one another. Until then, be kind to yourself.